the eyes, what the eyes see affects the outcome of the children. What a person sees flips on genetic code in the DNA at the time of conception and even before. We learned this amazing insight, Chidush, from a passage in the 5 books of Moses in the book of Genesis a couple years ago from our holy Rebbe, our teacher, Rabbi Reuben. And it is just beyond amazing. So phenomenal what is hidden in the 5 books of Moses. And people have no clue, not even if they read it, unless they learn from a righteous teacher. There are many secrets in this week's Torah portion. Parshat Vayetzei, book of Genesis, chapter 28, verse 10 through 32, verse 3. And one thing we realized a year or so ago with God's help and the help from our teacher, Rabbi Reuben, is that there are threads that run through every Torah portion. There are some things that, like ideas and concepts, some of them cross multiple Torah portions, many chapters, and others are just kind of isolated, or at least so it would seem, in one Torah portion. And this week's Torah portion has everything to do with genetics and DNA and breeding and the godly power that God gave to human beings if they want it, if they want to see the truth. Last year, it was a year after first learning about this insight, about the amazing genetic science. And this is from 4,000 years ago. The introduction starts off with Jacob departed from Beersheba and went toward Haran. He encountered the place and spent the night there. Because the sun had set, he took from the stones of the place which he had arranged around his head and lay down in that place. And he dreamt, and behold, a ladder was set earthward, and its top reached the heavenward. And behold, angels of God were ascending and descending on it. Now, I did a stream last year after I realized exactly the significance of that verse. And it is so amazing. Look at the DNA structure. That's a double helix. Deoxyribonucleic acid is a polymer composed of 2 polynucleotide chains that coil around each other to form a double helix. The polymer carries genetic instruction for the development, functioning, growth, and reproduction of all known organisms and many viruses. Nucleotides are organic molecules composed of a nitrogenous base, a pentose sugar, and a phosphate. They serve as monomeric units of the nucleic acid polymers, deoxyribonucleic acid and ribonucleic acid, DNA and RNA, both of which are essential biomolecules within all life forms on Earth. Now, the double helix is the spiral thing. The nucleotides are the rungs that breach or that join each side together. And when I was doing the thumbnail for the stream last year, I was looking at it and thinking about the Torah portion. I thought, I yelled out loud, like, it's a ladder. It's a ladder. A ladder sent heavenward, and the angels were ascending and descending on it. The guy in the thumbnail is Francis Crick, one of 3 scientists that were credited with discovery of DNA. They won the Nobel Prize, I think, in 1962 or three. But the discovery was published in 1953. Francis Crick, James Watson, Maurice Wilkins, and, almost as a side note, Rosalind Franklin all had huge roles. Rosalind Franklin's role was almost like a stuffed under the rug, and given virtually no credit for her critical discovery. Before her work, people thought DNA, like the theory was that the nucleotides were not on the inside of the helical coils, but they were on the outside. But this guy, Francis Crick, he's got some interesting things to say. The human dilemma is hardly new. We find ourselves, through no wish of our own, on this slowly revolving planet in an obscure corner of the vast universe. Our questioning intelligence will not let us live like cow-like content with our lot. We have a deep need to know why we are here. What is the world made of? More important, what are we made of? Now, this is what most thinking people think to themselves. Like, what is the purpose? But the reality is most people really do not want to know what. They don't really want to know the real answer. They want to know some fluff. Francis Crick was a humanist. This quote continues, "In the past, religion answered these questions often in considerable detail. Now we know that almost all these answers are highly likely to be nonsense, having sprung from man's ignorance and his enormous capacity for self-deception." I'll have to agree with him there, especially for his statement. Almost all these answers, not only highly likely, but are likely, definitely 100% nonsense. The simple fables of the religions of the world have come to seem like tales told to children. Even understood symbolically, they're often perverse, if not rather unpleasant. Humanists then live in a mysterious and exciting and intellectually expanding world, which, once glimpsed, makes the old worlds of the religions seem fake, cozy, and stale. I don't know about all that. Humanism doesn't have any answers for anything more than the fake religions. If you're really interested in the truth, God will peel back the heavens and show it to you in a way that is so astounding. This week's Torah portion in Patriarch Vayetzei holds literally the secret to eternal life, the secret to everything good, the secret to how to, like the foundation of serving God, how to have righteous, holy kids, how to sanctify yourself. Jacob then took himself fresh rods of poplar and hazel and chestnut, and he peeled white streaks of them, laying bare the white of the rod. And he set the rods which he had peeled in the runnels and the watering receptacles to which the flocks came to drink, facing the flocks, so they would become stimulated when they came to drink. Then the flocks became stimulated by the rods, and the flocks gave birth to ringed ones, speckled ones, and spotted ones. Jacob segregated the lambs, and he made the flocks face the ringed ones, and all the brownish ones among Laban's flocks. See here, Laban tried to cheat Jacob, but Jacob knew what Mendel figured out nearly 4,000 years later. But he also knew something that only the Jewish sages know. What the eyes see affects the outcome of the children. what a person sees flips on genetic code in the DNA at the time of conception and even before. And this is the amazing and sheerly terrifying thing is that Rabbeinu Bachai says in a commentary on this Torah portion that if something like mindless animals, sheep and goats, Jacob took the rods and he peeled streaks in them. See, when I read this passage at first without any commentary and without any help from a rabbi, especially without Rabbi Reuben, I should bless him a million trillion times over. None of this made any kind of sense whatsoever at all. It was just like, what's the deal with the rods? But the rods stimulated the animals and brought out the recessive genes in their genome, in their DNA, so they had a higher probability of being ringed, streaked, spotted, or speckled, or brownish among the goats. And Rabbeinu Bachai said, if this holds true for animals who have no sekel, no intelligence, no hokmah, no bina, no da, no wisdom, understanding, or knowledge, no divine intellect, how much more so does this hold true for sensitive, thinking human beings, and how careful one must be to sanctify themselves before the time of union with their wife and not think about, God forbid, any unclean thing, and certainly no foreign thought, no man or woman other than your husband or your wife. This is why it is of critical importance for a person to guard their eyes, and not just for married people, but for everyone. God gave us so much power, just beyond comprehension. God gave us the power to sanctify ourselves if we want to put forth the effort. And it's not easy, but there's really no other option, because like we went over during the month of Elul and a couple months ago, God's month of mercy before Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, there's a bracha u'klolah, there's a blessing and a curse, and they both come down to the world, and we absolutely have to get the blessing, and we have to learn and follow absolutely everything that the sages teach, and not remove one letter, one iota, because as soon as we pick and choose, then it becomes not from God.